You sit down to read. 2 minutes in, your hand is already reaching for your phone. You catch yourself. You put it down. 30 seconds later, you're reaching again. You call this a broken attention span. You blame the apps, the algorithms, the endless scroll. But what if the wiring was never broken at all? What if it's working exactly the way it was built to work, just pointed at the wrong target? For most of human history, sustained, narrow focus on a single object for hours was not a skill. It was a liability. Picture a man crouched at the edge of a clearing, eyes fixed on a single task, sharpening a stone tool completely absorbed. He does not hear the rustle behind him. He does not notice the shift in wind. A predator closes the distance while his attention stays locked on the rock in his hands. Total focus in that world could get you killed. What kept you alive was the opposite, a mind that moved. A mind that scanned the tree line, registered the bird that stopped singing, flicked toward the shadow that crossed the grass, and back again dozens of times a minute, never settling anywhere for long. Psychologist and neuroscientist Daniel Levitin has spent years studying this exact tension. He argues that the human brain evolved two competing attentional systems. One is focused, top-down attention, the kind you use to solve a problem or follow an argument. The other is the mind-wandering, scanning network, often called the default mode network, which activates the moment your focus releases. Levitin's research suggests this second system is not a flaw or a distraction. It is where insight happens. It is where your brain quietly connects ideas that focused attention is too narrow to combine. So which one is the real you? Both. That has always been the answer. Anthropologists studying remaining hunter-gatherer societies, including extensive fieldwork by Hadza researchers, have observed something striking. Foragers shift attention constantly throughout the day. They track footprints, then scan the sky, then listen for animal calls, then return to a half-finished task, then look up again. This is not distraction. This is the baseline operating mode of a brain built for an environment that punished tunnel vision and rewarded peripheral awareness. Now think about your modern day. An open office, a glowing screen, a single document you're expected to stare at for 90 uninterrupted minutes. There has never been an environment like this in the entire span of human evolution. Not once. Your ancestors never had to ignore 1,000 generations of survival instinct just to finish a quarterly report. Psychologist Gloria Mark, who has spent over a decade studying attention in digital environments, found that the average screen-based worker switches tasks roughly every 3 minutes. For years, this was treated as evidence of a worsening epidemic, proof that technology was shortening human attention. But Mark's later research adds something more nuanced. People are not simply distracted against their will. Much of this switching is self-interrupted, driven by an internal urge to check, to scan, to look elsewhere. That urge isn't new technology corrupting an old brain. It's an old brain doing exactly what it has always done, just with far more available targets to scan toward. Here's the twist almost nobody talks about. The apps did not invent your wandering attention. They discovered it. Engineers and designers studying engagement noticed the same ancient scanning impulse your ancestors used to survive the savannah, and they built interfaces that reward it on a hair trigger loop. Every notification mimics the snap of a twig in the grass. Every red badge mimics a flash of color at the edge of vision, something that might be food, might be danger, might be nothing. But evolution says, check it anyway, just in case. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when it responds to that pull. It's running flawlessly. The problem is the density of triggers, not the wiring that responds to them. So if the wandering mind was always there, why does focus feel so much harder now than it apparently did before? Because hunter-gatherer attention shifting happened across a landscape with natural pauses, walking, waiting, watching, with long stretches of low stimulation time between each shift. Your modern environment compresses those shifts into seconds. The switching itself isn't new. The frequency is. Your mind was built to scan once every few minutes across a quiet landscape, not once every few seconds across a screen designed to never stop offering something new. There's a deeper layer here too. Cognitive scientist Daniel Kahneman described two systems of thinking. One fast, intuitive, automatic, and one slow, effortful, deliberate. The scanning, distractible mind runs almost entirely on the fast system. Sustained, narrow focus requires the slow system, the one that drains energy quickly, and was never meant to run for hours uninterrupted. Your ancestors used slow, focused thinking in short, intense bursts, tracking a wounded animal, solving an immediate problem, then released it the moment the task ended. Modern life asks you to keep that expensive system running continuously, all day, every day. It was never built for that kind of marathon. This reframes the whole conversation around focus. You are not weak-willed. You are not broken. You are not uniquely afflicted compared to generations before you who supposedly had iron concentration. Iron concentration for hours at a time was never the human default. It was always rare, effortful, and short-lived, even 10,000 years ago. What has changed is not your mind. It's the cost of distraction and the density of triggers competing for that ancient scanning instinct, which raises a strange, almost comforting possibility. Maybe the goal was never to force your mind into uninterrupted focus for hours, fighting a battle your biology was never built to win cleanly. Maybe the goal is to work with the rhythm that's already there. Short bursts of deep focus, followed by genuine release, the kind your ancestors got from walking, watching, waiting, instead of switching from one glowing rectangle to another and calling it rest. You sit down to read again. Your hand drifts toward your phone within minutes, but now you understand what that pull actually is. Not failure, not a broken brain in a world that demands more discipline than you have. Just an old, patient scanning instinct, still doing the job it was built for, still watching the tree line, even though the tree line disappeared a long time ago. If this changed the way you think about your own wandering mind, subscribe. There's a lot more buried in your brain's old wiring, and you're going to want to see what else it's still doing without asking permission first.